here for a session with you all. The session is basically designed today to have a yeah. So the session is basically designed today to give you a clarity of the stuff. The topic for the session is emotional intelligence in classroom. So you all must have heard emotional intelligence before, but when we basically talk about emotional intelligence inside the classroom, we are basically discussing. Just a second. Can you see this screen? Yes, thank you. Uh, just a second. Just a second. I don't know how much like how this issue just took place. I'll just take one minute just to fix it. What is this? Yeah. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. So I believe everybody can see the screen. Can you see the screen? Just show. Just let me know. Yes or no. Yes. Thank you. So basically, we will be talking about promoting emotional intelligence in the classroom, and we'll be basically discussing about a lot of stuff related to the same. So while we talk about promoting emotional intelligence in the classroom, before we talk about this, is very important to understand that what is emotional intelligence. So when it comes to emotional intelligence, uh, what is emotional intelligence in a classroom setup? So when we talk about emotional intelligence in a classroom setup, so basically emotional intelligence in a classroom setup somewhere refers to the ability to ability of teachers and students to recognize, understand and manage their own emotions and those of others effectively. It involves skills such as empathy, self awareness, social skills and self regulation, which are crucial for creating a positive learning environment, fostering healthy relationships, and managing conflicts constructively. So, basically, when we are talking about understanding emotional intelligence, what does emotional intelligence exactly mean? So, the very simple thing, if I talk about emotional intelligence, so emotional intelligence is like often abbreviated as EQ, and EQ is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions. Uh, just a second, I believe this will work. Yeah, yeah. So, video connection. Can you see the screen? Just a second. I believe now the screen is visible. Okay. Yes, thank you. So emotional intelligence, often abbreviated as EQ, that is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions in oneself and others. So it involves being aware of one's own feelings and accurately perceiving emotions in others and effectively regulating emotions to guide thinking and behavior in various situations. So emotional intelligence, if we talk about, so that encompasses skills such as empathy, self-awareness, social skills, self-regulation, and motivation. So all of which contribute to personal and interpersonal success. So if I talk about practical example, a very simple example will be ask students to reflect on a time when they successfully managed their emotions in a challenging situation. When they successfully manage their emotion in a challenging situation. So just give me a minute. Let me this issue.
थोड़े इंटरनेट ही नहीं चल रहा थोड़े घर बैठो
Yeah, I'm just connecting from the rooftop. Just give me 1 minute. I believe I am now very clearly audible. Oh, I have just come on the rooftop in the, like biting summers. But yes, let me share the screen with you all so that this doesn't affect the discussion which we are already having. So I'll just keep my screen off so that there's no technical glitches. Just give me 1 minute. Sharing the content will extend the webinar for a couple of minutes. Just a second. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience caused. I believe now there will be no issue in terms of listening, in terms of understanding the things and all. So, am I clearly audible now? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patience. When there is a will, there is a way. So, just continuing the discussion. So, we were talking about understanding emotional intelligence. So, the components of emotional intelligence, if we talk about, so those are basically which I already shared, that self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. It teaches maximum time of us we discuss about all these skills. But the major concern which is always there is that we try to, understand, but when it comes to processing the same thing into the lifestyle, then then it becomes a huge concern to understand the stuff. So this is something where we have to understand that how to inculcate self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. So I'll be putting some light, but before I put the light, let me give you a very simple example which we can ask to our students. Like, ask students to reflect on a time when they successfully managed their emotions in a challenging situation. So components of EI, which we are talking about, kahin na kahin we have to ask this question to students, that think about some time when you have successfully managed your emotions in a challenging situation. You are feeling very angry, but you anyhow managed. So this is called emotional intelligence. And of course, if I want to give the example of mine emotional intelligence today, so the thing is, like, I joined through my phone but could not share the screen because the PPT was on the Google Drive. Then I opened the drive, but net was not working inside the house, so I came on the rooftop. It is completely sunny, but my emotional intelligence tells me that there are people who are waiting for learning purpose. I am supposed to help them. So having a Glucon D after the session gets over, that's a better option in comparison to canceling the session for the people who taken out time to understand the stuff in the discussion. So that is how emotional intelligence help. Otherwise, I would have another option. I would have cancelled the session. But the thing is that emotional intelligence always tells that you also get tensed. I also get tensed. मुझे भी दिक्कत होती है. But the thing is that I never give up. So this is something where emotional intelligence help. Think from multiple perspective. So how self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills can be developed into classroom students. So for that, if I want to just share a few views of mine, so I'll start with very simple thing. I'll say, first of all, developing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills in students can be achieved through various classroom activities and teaching strategies. So let me first give light on how you can develop self-awareness in students. So, very simple thing is, encourage for self-awareness, encourage journaling or reflection exercises where students explore their thoughts, feelings, and values. I repeat, for self-awareness, the very first and simple thing we are supposed to take care of is encourage journaling or reflection exercises inside the classroom where students explore their thoughts, feelings, and values. And another thing for inculcating self-awareness will be provide opportunities for self-assessment and feedback to help students understand their strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth. It's not like that I tell my child that you are not good at this, you are good at this. This is something which is major problem with all of us. We all look for validation of others. People say that I don't feel happy. I said, how much time you spend with yourself? All the time your life is completely, relying on the feedback of the another person given to you. So that is something where self-awareness lacks with many of us. So this is something which we can practice for all of us. Also, this can be helpful for the students as well. So for students, we have to provide them opportunities for self assessment and feedback to help students understand their strength, weaknesses, and areas of growth, what they think for themselves. This will increase self awareness in them. Also, somewhere, fostering an environment where students feel comfortable expressing themselves authentically and sharing their perspectives. So, these are the three things which I shared we can use for self awareness inside the classroom. Another is self regulation. So, teach mindfulness or relaxation techniques to help students manage stress and regulate their emotions. So mindfulness and relaxation is, it has no connection with any religion. It is all like I breathe, you breathe, everybody breathe who is alive. So breathing is something where you can put your attention and you can develop your complete thoughtfulness towards a particular situation. Another thing for self-regulation can be model and explicitly teach strategies for managing impulses, staying focused, and controlling reactions to challenging situations. The problem is not if there is no challenge in the life, there is no you know need of understanding that what are my limitations. But the thing is that when there is a challenge, I learn from the challenge that how can I grow from this challenge. So somewhere we have to model explicitly to teach strategies for managing impulses, staying focused, and controlling reactions to challenging situations. The third is whenever you are talking to students for developing and for developing emotional intelligence in them, they have to emotionally regulate well. So you have to provide structured routines and clear expectations to support students in developing self-discipline and organizational skills. Until or unless there is no clarity about self-discipline, there is no clarity about clear expectations, whatever effort you will do for a child, that is going to be of no use. So, providing structured routines and clear expectations to support students in developing self discipline and organizational skills. The third, which I was talking about, is empathy. This I talk in almost my every session. It's very simple to talk and the toughest thing to practice. People whether sympathize or people feel you know uh good about someone, that's another stuff. Feel sad about someone, that another stuff. But putting yourself into someone else's shoes, trying to understand that person's perspective, when it comes to it, it becomes a huge major concern. So to develop empathy in students, very simple first thing is incorporate literature, case studies, or role playing activities that allow students to understand different perspectives and experiences. The whole fight in this world is of perspective taking and perspective giving. So we have to teach from our classrooms to students that how different people have different perspectives and their perspectives can be completely true. So you have to try to look at the another perspective of that person. So for example, I use it by writing 6 in the center of the classroom, and I tell 20 students to stand on the head of 6 and 20 on the root of 6. So students who stand on the base of 6, they say this is 6. Students who stand just opposite side of the base of 6, they say this is 9. And then the complete heavy discussion starts. I asked students that if this is 6 from your perspective and if this is 9 from another people perspective, just prove and convince each other anyhow. And they all start arguing, a lot of arguments and a lot of discussion goes. Then I simply, after 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, continuous that cold war inside the class, then I ask them, okay, stop, do one thing. All the people standing on the 9 side come to the 6 side and try to see 6 from their side. All the people standing on the 6 side go with 9 to the 9 side and see how it is 9. Now the complete discussion dissolves. This is how it is very important and imperative to discuss with children that what issues comes to your classroom is all about how you take perspective of another people. This by this I ask students for open discussion and they share a lot of stuff. They says, sir, my parents have conflicts with me, my siblings have conflicts with me, and I always tell them that it may be that you are correct from your perspective. That doesn't mean that the person standing on the opposite perspectives of yours may be completely incorrect. Maybe you have not looked from that person's perspective. So that is something where it all becomes a huge stuff about the learning empathetic skills. So try to incorporate literature, case studies, or role playing activities that allow students to understand different perspectives and experiences. Another thing, encourage active listening and respectful communication in classroom discussions and group projects. When it comes to listening, it is important to be respectful while communicating. Whether it is classroom or it is family or it is whosoever I'm speaking to, I have to be respectful to the person because that is very important for any discussion to move forward. Another thing for teaching empathy, we can teach and reinforce the importance of empathy through discussions about kindness, compassion, and impact of actions on others. Now, if I talk about Gandhiji, if I talk about Swami Vivekanand, if I talk about Casabianca, if I talk about Abraham Lincoln, they are the people whom my children have never saw. My children have always read about them. So we have to say that these people are literally legendary people. These people have some, space in our heart, but try to go inside your house, in your locality, see how people are working hard for their bread and butter. Your people from whom you have to learn is of course the role models available in the literature inside the class, but then also you should have some people in your life whom you can see and learn by their deeds what they do and how they act. So this is how this complete things become a very imperative and very practical for the students. Another thing, try to give them opportunities to share their perspectives. Teachers, many a times I see teachers being very rigid to their perspective. This is how we stop our professional growth. It is important, it is very important for all of us to somewhere take a pause, think from the student's perspective. Maybe something which I am able to see, another person may not be in a position to see. So that is something which we all need to somewhere understand. Let us talk about social skills. For emotional intelligence, the last thing written on this point, number 2. So we discussed about how to inculcate self-awareness. We discussed about how to help students to regulate better in emotional terms. We discussed about how does empathy helps. We are going to discuss about how to inculcate social skills in the children. So, for implementing cooperative learning activities where students work, collaboratively to solve problems,
and achieve common goals. This is the best technique I find for any social skills to be developed. Like a very simple method which I suggest to the teachers, that for example, I'm going to teach something inside the class tomorrow. Now, I ask all the students to collect material from each other, make a chart paper presentation. They all have to put their views on the chart paper, and they all have to somewhere share what is I taught inside the class yesterday in the way they have understood. This will help in two ways. Another thing, many times children understand another children's perspective in a better way. Children knows the age appropriate language for other children, and I will also learn a way how I can help another people to become a better, organizer, to become a better presenter of their will, whatever they have. So giving opportunities like this, preparing something on a chart paper, the same thought from different people, putting it all together and asking entire class to read it together. It somewhere polishes the social skills. Another thing which we can do for social skills is like mm, yes, somewhere teaching effective communication skills such as assertiveness, active listening, and conflict resolution techniques. If I have a conflict, I have to resolve it. Why? Because that is bothering me. If it is bothering me and I don't want to resolve, what can I do? If you don't want to resolve, it will affect your social skills. So this is the need of polishing and refining the skills of us, and that will somewhere help us to become better in terms of our social skills. Also, I believe providing opportunities for students to practice social interactions. Teachers, we teach a lot, we do not allow students to talk. An entire class, like a child, like of a child, the parents think पूरे दिन स्कूल रह के आए हो, पूरे दिन एंजॉय किया होगा तुमने. थिंक फ्रॉम अ चिल्ड्रन पर्सपेक्टिव. स्कूल से घर से स्कूल के लिए निकले. आई केम टू स्कूल. असेंबली स्टार्टेड. पीपल सेड प्रेयर करो, बोलना नहीं है. आफ्टर असेंबली आई वेंट टू द क्लास टीचर का बोला बोलना नहीं है. एक पीरियड से दूसरे पीरियड के बीच में 2 मिनट का ब्रेक मिला, तब से दूसरा टीचर आ गया, बोलना नहीं है. एंड एवरीवेयर people did not allowed us to interact with other people, and then dispersal assembly hui and everybody said bolna nahi hai. I came out of that school and I came at home and I'm trying to say something, and my parents are saying पूरे दिन बोलते रहते हो, बोलना ही नहीं है. So this is something how it affects. So teachers, we were discussing about the three skills there, and then now it comes to the practical example. So a very simple question you can ask your children to ask you is uh, is ask students to reflect on a time when they successfully managed their emotions in a challenging situation. Now, you can give this question to the entire class. You can ask the entire class to write a page on it. और यू कैन आस्क एवरीबडी. कोई इस पे ड्राइंग बना के ला सकता है, कोई इस पे एक पोम लिख सकता है, कोई इस पे एक प्रोज लिख सकता है, कोई इस पे एक स्टोरी लिख सकता है, बट इट शुड नॉट गो मोर देन 150 वर्ड्स. Now the next day you call all the students, collage all the things, and share all the things inside the class in a common platform. You will find students having better connection with each other. So let us talk about how to create a positive learning environment. So to create positive learning environment by using the approach of emotional intelligence inside the classroom, we have to first of all, let us take a practical example there. Conduct regular class meetings where students can discuss their emotions and experiences. Now, when it comes to sharing expressions and emotions and everything, it is not important to pressurize the students to share purposely, because many times हम लोग दूसरों का experience सुन करके भी बहुत कुछ learn करते हैं. So, to creating a positive learning environment through the lens of emotional intelligence, it involves fostering a supportive, and empathetic atmosphere where students feel valued, understood, and motivated to learn. If I talk about some approaches, so I'll say first of all, try to build a strong teacher-student relationship. Take time to get to know your students individually, show genuine interest in their lives, and provide personalized support when needed. This will somewhere increase trust and it creates a sense of belongingness inside the classroom, which lacks nowadays a lot. Also, I would like to share that promote a culture of respect and inclusivity. So it is very, very beautiful to listen a culture of respect and inclusivity. But we have to be establishing very clear expectations for behavior and communication that emphasize kindness, empathy, and acceptance of differences. I repeat, we have to establish very clear expectations uh, for behavior and communication. That communication that emphasize kindness, empathy, and the third I said, accepting the differences. So, addressing any instances of bullying or discrimination promptly and sensitively. This is very important. For also creating a learning positive classroom environment, the third important thing which we need to work on is teach and model emotional regulation. Like, try to demonstrate healthy ways of managing emotions, somewhere by acknowledging and validating students' feelings, uh, while also, teaching strategies for self-regulation, such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or positive self-talk. We need to give. आप अपनी क्लास में 5 मिनट रोज बच्चों को सिर्फ टॉक टाइम दे करके देखिए. आप 5 मिनट बच्चों को सिर्फ टॉक टाइम दे करके देखिए, उनसे बोलिए कि एवरी डे इन माई क्लास आई विल गिव यू टॉक टाइम ऑफ 5 मिनट्स, एंड यू विल फाइंड अ वेरी डिफरेंट एनर्जी ऑन देयर फेस. This is very important to talk. Humans are social animals, and humans learn by interacting with another humans. But when we as an adult do not provide them to share their apprehensions, their thoughts, their feelings, it all becomes very messy, uh children try to balance the thing, but the thing is that it doesn't go the way we want it to. So that is something where we have to teach and model emotional regulation. So also we have to demonstrate healthy ways of managing emotions by acknowledging and validating feelings, which I already shared. uh, for deep breathing, you can simply say that observe how you are breathing in, breathing out 10 to 20 times. Maybe be aware. Just think, आज सुबह से मैंने क्या क्या चीजें की, किस किस काम को मैंने ज्यादा एनर्जी दी, किस काम को मैंने कम एनर्जी दी, कौन सा काम ऐसा था जो इम्पोर्टेंट था, which was less important, which was very important, which was urgent. So this helps them to understand. And also another step for the positive learning environment can be encouraging collaboration and teamwork. So try to incorporate the group activities that has cooperative learning projects. Cooperative learning projects like peer-to-peer support to foster a sense of uh, a community, like a sense of community, and emphasize the importance of listening, understanding, and supporting each other's learning goals. I'll just share a story with you. Once we all have heard this story of tortoise and rabbit. So I'll tell you the story in Hindi. That rabbit और चूहे की जो है रेस हुई. रैबिट जीत गया, जो है रैबिट हार गया, और जो है वो टॉर्टोइस जीत गया, क्योंकि रैबिट सो गया था और टॉर्टोइस चल के पहुंच गया. नाउ द कंप्लीट स्टोरी इज, इसके बाद रैबिट उठा, उसने कहा फिर से रेस होगी. अब इस बार टॉर्टोइस और रैबिट की रेस शुरू हुई. और इस बार रैबिट सोया नहीं और वो दौड़ कर जाके जीत गया। देन टॉर्टोइस सेड कि मेरा तुम्हारा तो कोई कंपैरिजन ही नहीं है। टॉर्टोइस उसको पानी के पास लेकर के गया। अब जब पानी के पास लेके गया तो रैबिट खड़ा ही रह गया। टॉर्टोइस पानी में से निकला, दूसरी पार पहुंच गया। ये सारी चीजें एक बंदर देख रहा था। उसने कहा कि दिस इज नॉट द राइट वे, आई एम गिविंग यू अ सिचुएशन, उसके हिसाब से यू हैव टू प्लान। नाउ द मंकी गेव देम अ सिचुएशन। उसने 100 मीटर लंबी एक जमीन थी, फिर उस पर 100 मीटर लंबी नदी थी, और फिर 100 मीटर लंबी एक जमीन थी, और उसके बाद उसने झंडा गाड़ा। एंड ही सेड कि जो इसको पार करके जाएगा दैट पर्सन विल बी द विनर। नाउ टू विन द कंपटीशन इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव अ कॉम्पिटिटर। सो मंकी सेड कि टॉर्टोइस तुम्हारे पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं, तुम अकेले नहीं ले, तुम्हें तो खरगोश को साथ ही खेलना है। नाउ द टॉर्टोइस एंड rabbit sat together and they discussed कि करें क्या। Then after some time discussion, the rabbit said, oh tortoise, listen, I can walk on the on the uh, floor, and you can swim in the water as well as walk on the floor. You are capable enough, but the thing is, we have to win this race together. So let us do it in this way. जब जमीन पे दौड़ना है तो तुम मेरे ऊपर बैठ जाना, जब पानी में उतरोगे तो मैं तुम्हारे ऊपर बैठ जाऊंगा, और फिर जमीन पे दौड़ करके हम मेरे ऊपर बैठ करके वहां पहुंचेंगे, और जो प्राइज मिलेगा हम उसे डिवाइड कर लेंगे। दिस वॉज द थिंग विच मंकी वॉन्टेड टू टीच देम। आई टीच दिस स्टोरी टू चिल्ड्रन एंड आई टेल देम it is not important that you will be good in all the subjects. Maybe I'm good in drawing. Maybe the other person is good in maths. Maybe the third person is good in physics. Maybe the fourth person is good in English. Let us collaborate. Let us collaborate and learn by, supporting each other's learning goals. This will help to develop a better emotional intelligent people, because nowadays we have so many people with high IQ. Now companies are not looking for people with high IQ. Companies are looking for the people who have high EQ as well. इट इज नॉट अबाउट कि आपके सिर्फ अच्छे अच्छे मार्क्स हैं। अरे अच्छे मार्क्स हैं, आप प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लोगे, लेकिन आप प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए पब्लिक के लिए अप्रोचेबल ही नहीं होगे। आप इतने हाई आईक्यू के पर्सन हो कि आपका ईक्यू इतना लो है कि आपको कोई कनेक्शन ही नहीं बन रहा। यू आर वेरी लॉजिकल इन टू लाइफ, देर इज नो इमोशंस एंड ऑल। So there are so many situations like this which we need to teach our children. Also, provide opportunities for self-reflection and growth. So this is important for creating a positive learning environment. Integrate regular reflection exercises like journaling prompts or goal setting activities to help students develop self awareness and identify their strength and areas for improvement and track their progress over time. We basically lack in follow up. We do not take follow up. We do a lot of efforts. हम लोग बहुत सारी चीजें करते हैं, बट हम किसी भी चीज को करने के बाद उसका फॉलो अप नहीं करते, एंड दैट बिकम्स द ह्यूज कंसर्न बिसाइड द रिजल्ट्स ऑफ द थिंग। ऑल्सो offer emotional support for social emotional learning. This I also believe is important for the positive environment, uh, creating a positive environment. So like try to teach students explicitly, teach such things like which I told: empathy, communication, problem solving, decision making, and incorporate ask them to incorporate social emotional learning concepts into everyday lessons and discussions. One which I'm a very firm believer and I believe is the most important thing is celebrating diversity and individual strength. Maybe in my class at Patna, I may have so many students from Mumbai. Maybe in my class in Mumbai, maybe I may have some students from Patna, some from Manipur, some may from Bangalore, some may from Kerala, some may from different stuff. So people from different background may be all there together in my own classroom. So this is very important to celebrate diversity and individual strength. So create a classroom environment that values and celebrates diversity in backgrounds, like the experiences and perspectives, perspective taking, perspective giving, etc. And encourage students to share their unique talents, interests, and cultural traditions to promote a sense of pride and belonging. So I believe, that by prioritizing emotional intelligence in classroom and actively nurturing students social emotional skills, you can cultivate a positive and inclusive learning environment where students feel uh, empowered to thrive academically and, of course, personally. So, encourage open communication, which is the third point of this slide, is like promote open dialogue where students feel comfortable sharing their feelings and concerns. Now, the problem is that a child trusts their teacher. A child shares their personal stuff with the teacher. The problem is that after sharing it with the teacher, when the teacher share with another colleague, it becomes an issue. And this is very common that in the staff room discussion people talk about उस बच्चे की लाइफ ऐसी है, उस बच्चे की फैमिली में तो ये है, उस बच्चे के तो घर में ये है. Remember, dear teachers, आप जो भी बातें करते हैं, every child gets to know what you discuss about them, and your own colleagues tell them, your own students of the class tell them, the people in the surrounding tell them, maybe the peon tell them, maybe another people tell them, but this is not important. It must be avoided to cultivate a better classroom environment. I already told you about how to teach self-awareness. So mindfulness is something which you will get thousands of videos on YouTube to understand what is mindfulness, how does it work, how it helps. Download 10-minute ka video, have a session with your students. Which I was talking about reflective journaling. So let me share with you uh, how to do reflective journaling inside the classroom in an effective manner. So if I talk about reflective journaling, so assign journal prompts to encourage students to reflect on their emotions and reactions. From emotional intelligence perspective, how does reflective journaling helps? So from this perspective, if I talk, there are so many ways and there are so many stuff uh, which helps, but giving students the individual stuff for self awareness. Whenever you are doing something, give them individual stuff. उनको कोई ऐसा काम दीजिए जो वो अकेले कर सकते हैं सेल्फ अवेयरनेस की बात पे. लेकिन जब ये ग्रुप की बात है, ग्रुप इफेक्टिवनेस की बात है, ग्रुप कोहेसिवनेस की बात है, इन सारी चीजों में आप स्टूडेंट्स को वो एक्टिविटीज दीजिए जिनको करने के लिए उनको एक ग्रुप की जरूरत पड़ेगी. So that group could be of their friend circle, that group could be of their like a close people, the group can be of people with the same alphabet and all. Very practical example which I have already mentioned is like have students track their emotions throughout the day and identify patterns. Just ask students, but nothing is right, nothing is wrong. You just write your own thoughts. I'm not going to read your diary, but for from yesterday's class to today's class, whatever things you did, what went well, what did not went well, what you want to improve, what you don't want to repeat, just write it down, keep it with you. I'm not going to ask you. This is something which will develop trust. This is something which will develop a sense of awareness. And this is something when a student can track their own progress of doing something. So, this is how children will, uh, yeah, learn from different perspectives. When we talk about self regulation skills, so stress management techniques like Teach students strategies for managing stress, such as deep breathing or visualization, which I already told you. Anger management. So, how anger is becoming nowadays very common with young children, and how it affects emotional intelligence. Let us try to understand this stuff first, and then we will try to discuss how to help students to manage that. So anger somehow, becoming more common among young children, it can be attributed to various factors, including increased stress, uh, include increased stress, pressure, societal and parental expectations, and exposure to various uh, social media and technology. So, when not properly addressed or managed, frequent anger can significantly, impact impact emotional intelligence in several ways. The very first and thing will be happening impaired self-awareness. Like student, if they have constant anger, may overshadow their emotions, and making it difficult for children to recognize and understand their feelings accurately. So this lack of self-awareness, I believe, can hinder their ability to effectively regulate emotions and communicate their needs. Also, decreased self-regulation, reduced empathy, and impaired social skills or negative impact on mental health. So these are the things which gets affected. And if I have to talk how to improve it, how to improve, so I would just say that it is important to ask students to give them some situations, that beta this particular is a case study. Give them an hypothetical case study without mentioning name. Maybe the name will be A, the name will be J, the name will be X, the name will be Y, could be anything. Then ask students to role play different scenarios where students practice self regulation techniques. I talk about self regulation and how I regulate. If these are two different things, it is of no use. It is very important to regulate well. It is very important to discuss well. It is very important to share well. And for that, I have to be like my regulation has to be better. Like for cultivating empathy, so very simple thing is active listening skills. Tell students to be an active listener. How you can be an active listener? You can only listen people when you are light from inside. Dear teachers, our students are very much loaded. They have so many things to share. They just don't share because they don't find somebody appropriate for them to uh, have a clarity of something, where they have learned a lot of things but they cannot share. There are also trust issues and all. So this is important to teach students active listening skills. And for social skills, so as I already mentioned, that practice active listening and conflict resolution skills by role playing scenario. Maybe you can collect किसी भी conflictful situation का, किसी भी दो लोगों के बीच में कोई conflict हुआ हो, उस situation का एक example ले लीजिए, उस situation का कोई एक छोटा सा case study बना लीजिए, and then give it to children and ask children that beta this is the situation. Now you are at the another perspective. ये आपके साथ नहीं हो रहा है, अब आप एडवाइस करो. नो एवरी चाइल्ड विल एडवाइस. नाउ द थिंग इज, जिसकी प्रॉब्लम है उसको 2500 ऑप्शंस और आंसर्स मिल जाएंगे, 25 अदर पर्सपेक्टिव्स मिल जाएंगे, जहां पे दैट पर्सन कैन लर्न हाउ he or she can effectively handle the situation without getting highlighted. So these are a few stuff which we can think. A few introspective questions I have wrote for you all, which we all must ask with ourselves. We all must ask to ourselves this very simple three questions. How do my emotions impact my interactions with students? Write it down. Note it down somewhere. This will help you to observe well. This will help you to understand your perspective with other people. This will also help you to get a very clear, idea about your practical ways of handling situations. Another question, which is an introspective question, which you can ask you is, am I creating a supportive environment where students feel comfortable expressing their emotions? And a third, how can I model healthy emotional regulation and empathy for my students? These three questions, at least one question every day, you should ask yourself. One out of these three, you should all at least ask yourself. And if you ask all these three, that's so far so good. But this is very important to ask yourself every day. How do I manage my own emotions, which impact my interaction with students? Am I creating a supportive environment where students feel comfortable expressing their emotions? How can I model healthy emotional regulation and empathy for my students? And whatever answer come, you don't have to go and share with other people. You just have to keep all these stuff with you. You just have to keep all these stuff with you. We don't need somebody to tell us ki what is wrong with us, what is right with us. We are the best person to understand what is wrong with me, what is right with me. It is important for me to understand what is not going right with me, what is happening wrong with me, how can I help, how this can help, and a lot of stuff like that. uh yeah. Situations for classroom application. So these three situations I'm giving, it's your homework. Just do a homework on this and use it inside your classroom. A student consistently struggles with self-regulation, and I just repeat, yes, I'll just share. A student consistently struggles with self-regulation and disrupts the class. How do you support the student while maintaining a positive learning environment for the rest of the class? So this answer I'm giving you. Another two situations you can search for yourself. So the very first is, what I would like to share to you is, uh, you know uh, like supporting a student who struggle with self regulation uh, while maintaining a positive learning environment. So we have to have a combination of individualized support, proactive strategies, and clear classroom management technique. A few points I'm sharing, you can elaborate as per your need. The very first is understand the underlying reasons. We always react by looking at surface level. It is important to take time to understand the most causes, the root causes of the students struggle with self regulation. And when you are like when you understand the underlying reason, provide targeted support, offer individualized support and interventions to help students develop self regulation skills. Then establish clear expectations with this child. Emphasize the importance of respect, cooperation, and following class rules. Then implement proactive strategies like provide sensory tools or flexible seating options, structuring lessons to accommodate different learning styles and attention spans, and just help the person to understand, share their perspective with the situation, to understand, share their ways of learning with you, to understand, share their uh, perspective of looking at something. And it could be something which can be easily done by some simple efforts. So I'm giving you to homework. Very simple thing is, a student becomes visibly upset during a class discussion. How do you address the situation while maintaining the student's dignity? Try to search the answer from your perspective. Two students are having a conflict during group work. How do you facilitate resolution while teaching valuable social skills? So these were the three questions, three situations which I give you. With this, thank you so much for being there in the session. I'm so sorry for the initial issues that took place due to the network concern, but of course, network issues are in no one's hand. So I tried my best to fix the issue, and I believe from past 40 minutes we did not have any particular concern with the network and all we discussed. We had a very good discussion, very good time with each other. So this is what overall we discussed. We understood. If you have any questions, any doubt, any thoughts, please feel free to share. Otherwise, thank you and Jai Hind, everyone. Thank you so much for being there in the session on time. Thank you so much for all the cooperation, all the very positive words. Thank you so much, everyone. I can see a lot of positive comments, a lot of appreciation in the chat box. Thanks to everyone for being there in the session, to just being there. Thank you so much, everyone.